In this video, I'll explain 10 terms that you will hear often in a grammar class or any English class. I'm going to show you each word and explain what it means. If you saw my other video, the 9 parts of speech, you'll know that a part of speech talks about a word and how it's used in a sentence. The 9 parts of speech are noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, adjective, preposition, conjunction, interjection, and article. I'm going to use some of these terms in this video. So if you need more information about these terms, I recommend that you watch my video, The 9 Parts of Speech. But here in this video, I'm going to talk about 10 other terms that you need to know in your grammar class or in your English class. The first we use when we're talking about sentences, and that's a subject. In every sentence, you know that there is a verb. That's the action of the sentence. We also have a subject in almost every English sentence. A subject is who or what does the action in the sentence. A subject is going to be a noun or a pronoun. So in this example, Kyle drives the car. Our action, thus drives, and the subject is Kyle. Kyle is the person who does the action in this sentence, and that's called a subject. We could also have a pronoun like he drives the car, and here he is the subject. Many English sentences will also have an object. In the example, Kyle drives the car is the object. The object is the thing that receives the action in the sentence. So Kyle is the subject, Kyle does the action, and car is the object that receives the action. Or another example, the lion chased the zebra. The lion is the subject, the zebra is the object. So subject and object are very important parts of a sentence. Let's talk about 2 terms that we use sometimes when we're talking about verbs. These terms are transitive and intransitive. Let me tell you what they mean. Sometimes a verb can have an object. Like our example, the lion chased the zebra. The zebra is the object. So if a verb can have an object, we call that a transitive verb. A transitive verb can have an object. And most verbs are like this. For example, Kyle drives the car. Drives is a transitive verb. It can have an object. But in some sentences, something like this, I laughed, he sneezed, the tree died, there is no object. With the verbs laugh, sneeze, or die, there is no object that receives the action from these verbs. And that's called an intransitive verb. An intransitive verb doesn't have an object. 2 more terms that we use a lot when we talk about verbs are infinitive and gerund. An infinitive is a form of the verb like how it looks in the dictionary. it will have the base form, for example, drive, and it will have the word to in front of it, to drive. That's an infinitive. A gerund is an ing form of a verb. So again, with the word drive, the gerund is driving. So a gerund just talks about the form of the verb when it's in its ing form. That's called a gerund. Two more very useful words that you need for your English class are phrase and clause. Let's talk about phrase first because it's easier. A phrase is any group of words in a sentence. For example, hundreds of people, students from Japan, under the carpet. All of those are examples of phrases. The other important word is clause. And a clause is a group of words. This will have always a subject and a verb. And there are different types of clauses, but it's important to remember that every clause will have a subject and a verb. Two really important types of clauses are dependent and independent. So the names of these clauses can tell us a lot about them. An independent clause can be alone. It can be a sentence because it has a subject and a verb and it expresses a complete idea. An independent clause can be alone. It will have a subject, it will have a verb, it might have an object, but we talked about it that not every verb has an object. But the important thing is an independent clause can be alone as its own sentence, or it can be part of another sentence. A dependent clause also has a subject and it has a verb, but it can't be alone. It needs to be part of another sentence. For example, I have something to tell you. This is an independent clause. It has a subject, a verb, and it expresses a complete idea. But something like this, before you go, this is a dependent clause because it has a subject and a verb, but it does not express a complete idea. It's not finished. This needs to be connected to another sentence. For example, before you go, I have something to tell you. So, to review, we have subject, object, we have transitive and intransitive verbs, infinitive and gerund, phrase, clause, independent clause, and dependent clause. So thanks for watching. I hope that these terms will help you understand in your next grammar class. If there's another term that's confusing for you, leave me a note in the comments below and I'll be happy to explain it.